Hello, geometry students. We are moving on finally to volume. We've been spending quite a bit of time on surface area, and we are finally moving on to volume of cylinders and regular prisms. So our essential question is, can I find the volume of cylinders and prisms? And the reason why we put cylinders and prisms into the same category, as always, is they have two bases, they have the lateral area, so they're similar in that way. But let's really take a look at our formulas, which we've done in the past. So when we looked at the formula of the surface areas, we could see, well, guess what? Guess what the perimeter of a circle is? It's 2 pi r. Guess what the area of the base is? It's pi r squared. And the same thing is going to happen for the two volume formulas. So you can have them on your formula sheet. I'm going to write them down. Let's really look at this. So a cylinder volume looks like this. Pi r squared times h. And a prism formula is exactly the same. But instead of pi r squared, they're going to put a big B. What does that big B stand for? That capital B, it stands for the area of the base. So I'm just going to use a few colors to kind of indicate what's happening here. Firstly, they both have the height. That's going to be the same if we were to look at this kind of coming from this angle. The height is from the one base to the other base. And then I want you to look and compare what's the leftovers in this case. So this stands for area of the base. And this right here is the area of a circle. And that's because in a cylinder, guess what the base is? It's a circle. And so that's why the formulas are exactly the same. If you only memorize the prism formula, you would be good to go because you know that the base is a circle. So you wouldn't have to have that memorized. We're just going to jump right into 3 quick examples today. I'll try to be quick, but I also want to remind you guys to pause the video, draw out diagrams. Don't feel like you're flustered or trying to, catch up with me. Pause the video. That's why it's a video, because you can pause it. Okay, so we're going to have this rectangular prism. I'm going to create if this is horizontal, that's going to be horizontal about the same length. Whatever that degree measure is, that's degree measure. If those are vertical, that's also vertical. Oh, okay, could be worse, could be better. So in this shape, this side right here is 2. This side right here is 3. And this side is 7. So let's look and see what all the pieces are. If you have a rectangular prism, any side could be the base, and as long as you pick a side to be the base, you found the base. I always like to pick the, I guess I don't know what I'm trying to call it, the one that's sitting on the bottom. I was going to say the bottom one, the one that's sitting on the ground to be the base. So in this case, when I'm looking for my volume is equal to base times height. Well, you just find whatever the area of the base is. In this case, the base area is 2 times 3, which is 6. And what's my height in this case? The height is 7, right there. So my volume is 42 units. I didn't pause. Units cubed. Volume is units cubed, units cubed, units cubed. Don't forget about him. It's not going anywhere. But you got to remember our cubic units. This is our very first time where those will come up. All right, I think I have enough space. Yeah, I'll keep going. Example 2. I was going to go over to the side, but I'll go down. What about a cylinder? That was a wonky cylinder. Whoopsies. Okay, well, that's fine. That's a horrible cylinder. That's okay. It's not drawn to scale because the height is 6 and the diameter is 10. That doesn't look like it's 10, but it's going to be 10 right now. Okay, so we have our volume formula. I'm going to use base times height Because even though it's a cylinder, I can still use the prism formula. But in this case, the base just happens to be a circle. So when I plug in the base area, that's where that pi r squared is coming from. So in case you're wondering why I'm picking those things, hopefully that made a connection for you. Okay, so I need to find the radius, I need to find the height. I did not give you the radius. I did not give you the radius. What is the radius? The radius is 5 because the diameter is 10 and the height is 6. I like to simplify this. In fact, I can simplify it in my head and do most of that in my head. That right there, 5 squared is 25 times 6 is 150. So 150 pi is technically my answer. I mean, that's the correct answer if I asked for the exact answer. But if I asked for it rounded, you would type that in your calculator and get 471.24 units cubed. So I'm going to circle both. And just as a reminder, I could either ask you for exact or I could ask you for rounded. And both are a correct answer. It's just whichever way your teacher is asking it for you. Example 3, our last one. We have a triangular prism, but it's lying on its side. So it's just kind of hanging out over here. If that 90 degree wasn't there, we wouldn't be able to solve this. Oh, I guess we could. We could solve this next problem, but it'd be a lot of work. So in this case, I have a triangle that has side legs of 9 and 12. We don't need the hypotenuse. If I was looking for the surface area, I would, because I would need the perimeter, but I don't. So that's why a lot of people think volume is less work. So you don't have to find all these extra pieces. You don't have to find like the area and the perimeter, for example. So in this case, the volume is equal to base times height. What is the shape of our base? In this case, it's a triangle. It is not a rectangle. When you have a triangular prism like this, when you have a triangular prism, the base can never be these rectangles. Those rectangles are always the lateral edges. The bases have to be the shape that you labeled the question as. So if it was a triangular prism, you'd have to use a triangle. So in this case, my base is a triangle. Or you know my height, I'm going to plug that right in because that's nice. And then if I'm looking for the area of the base, well, the area of a triangle is 1/2 the base of the triangle, not the area of the base, times the height. What is 1/2 12 times 9? That is 54. So that's my base. Type that in your calculator, do it longhand, I don't care. Either way, you should get 864 inches cubed. It would be inches if I had inches over here, which I'm going to add them right now, because whoopsies. And that's how you'd find the volume.